Hello everyone, it's Linda from Linda Z's in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Ready for your morning cup of coffee? We are continuing from one of the videos we did last week with the pumpkins kissing or kissing pumpkins, whatever you want to call it. This is the design, and I do have a little pillow design that I'm putting together that I'm going to show you. But before I do that, I've had a lot of people ask me a lot of questions about how to get this design on this shirt. And so, this shirt was already done when I put the design on it. And then when I turn around, you can see the design in the back across the yoke. And again, this was not made before the design was put on. So if I were making the shirt first, I could easily put that on and there would be no problem. But when you have a shirt that's already done, already made, and you want to put an embroidery design on it, that's what I'm going to show you today. Just a couple little tips that will help you. And I have a shirt here that I'm going to show you. But before you start, when you do something like this, I'm sure you've heard me many times in lots of our videos, there's two methods. If I'm doing a quilt, which is what this is going to be, this orange, then I have a different method. But when I'm doing a shirt like this or something where it's hard to get into, then this is the method that I'm going to use. First of all, I took this wonderful Perfect Stick. You've heard me talk about it a lot before. And it is, you're going to put it into a hoop. And I got it open here. I know I probably didn't open it quite enough, but you want to start on one end and see if you've got it open enough. And if you don't, you can always open it up more. And what I mean by opening it up, you can see these little screws right here. I have this wonderful, this happens to be a brother or a baby lock, you could use either one. And you can see I can take this and tighten this up real easy. See how quickly I'm doing that? If I had to do this with my fingers, it would be almost impossible. It's very, very hard to tighten it up, whereas on this it isn't. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to tighten it up. And one little tip that I can show you, and I'm going to have a couple of pictures that I'll have inserted in here. See how I'm pushing this rim out from the bottom? So the bottom of this, where the stabilizer is going to be pushed up a little. It's not going to be flat. It's actually going to come up just a little bit. And I do that whether I'm doing a garment or whether I'm doing a quilt or whatever it is that I'm going to do. Especially if I'm doing a large one like this. And again, then I tighten it with this little screwdriver, which is just a really wonderful little tool. I have, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these probably, one by all the machines. Any time I have a hoop that has a little nut and screw that you can tighten, I use this little thing. So now I have it in there. I want to check it. I want to make sure it's nice and tight and taut. And you may be wondering as I'm doing this why I have these machines around me. We have a phenomenal thing coming up very soon with our Great Wisconsin Quilt Show. And this is the new Bernina. It's the Swarovski, the Glitz machine. We happen to have it here. I'm so thrilled to have it. I have one of these machines, but not the Glitz. I wish I did. We are going to have them on a phenomenal special. I didn't put all of the Swarovski crystal stuff that's with it, but there's just a whole package of stuff. So I hope you'll watch us. Next week on our video on Thursday morning, we are actually going to be filming with the Greater Wisconsin Quilt Show. And we will have experts from all over the country that are coming in. Some have been here, some are coming in to film in the video studio and to show you phenomenal projects. We have a computerized quilting Connie Fanders is doing. It is just, I just saw it and it's just wonderful what she's doing. We're going to show you about pressing, which you know I use on my Laura Star all the time. I'm going to show you a little bit about that today, but some really great techniques. So I sure hope you will think about these great machines because they're going to be fabulous prices. And it's not just the top of the line. We will have, you know, many of you probably know that I have many machines, but one of my favorite for piecing machines is my Bernina 720, and that is going to be an unbelievable special. So you'll get all kinds of ideas. So don't forget to tune in. It will be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. and it'll be throughout the day. There's some really, really great techniques. So, okay, Nick's giving me, there's a morning session and an afternoon, 11 and 3, and I don't know, I have a video picture here of what it is. So just check in, you'll see it. It's just a great, there's a whole slew of people that have been working on it.
6 hours of content.
6 hours, yeah. So it's really phenomenal information, and we hope you'll turn in. Do they have to sign up for the Wisconsin Quilt Show in order to see the videos?
They will get reminders.
They'll get reminders?
Sign up, so
okay.
We'll have it on our website.
Great. Okay. I don't know if you heard that, but it'll be on the website. So now I have this, you've seen me do this many times before. This is a little seam ripper, and I'm just going to go and take it, and you know how I peel this off, because you know what's underneath. It's real sticky under there. And then I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to go ahead and just peel this off. Just a real simple way. And the reason I do this, I use this Perfect Stick quite often when it's very hard to get, you know, places that are real hard to get into. Now, I would not use this Perfect Stick on this hoop where I'm doing my quilt designs, because that's a flat design, and you can see it'll be much easier to get in there. Okay, I'm done with that. I'm going to put that back in my, if you don't have these little stash and sews. I made the mistake, well, I don't know if it was a mistake, but my sisters came this weekend. One of the videos, I believe it will be in 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks, I did a video on the siblings and something you can do with your family if you have family get-togethers. Anyway, I made the mistake of letting them come into my sewing room. But the one thing they did say, all the sisters, is that you really do have these stash and sews by every one of your machines. I probably have 2 by each one of my machines. They couldn't get over it. I use these little things all the time. I can't even tell you how wonderful they are. Just pull out what I'm using, and I've got it ready to go, and it's done. Now this piece is sticky. You can kind of feel it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a shirt similar to what I have on. Now this is a placket shirt, so it doesn't have a opening all the way down. This one is an opening all the way down, and so it's much easier to get into. There's some machine or shirt that I bought. However, I'm going to act like it was a shirt that has a placket, so I'll button it up here and show you what I'm going to do. If I want to do the back yoke, like I did here, the back yoke across here, what I'm going to do, first of all, I take my collar, and I'm absolutely, this is real important. You take it and you want some chalk, and I go right to the seam. So I mark this. I like white on this. I do have a blue chalk that I can use, but on black, these 2 little ones are, I don't even know who makes these. These are Clover ones. This is the one I love the most, and this is the bone. I don't say it probably right, but I can get a more accurate line with it, and it's really, really wonderful. So either way, they both work really well, and you definitely want to have a chalk marker when you're doing this. So now what I do is I line up the center. I could use a template, which I have right here. I don't usually use it. I did use it on here because I wanted to show you what to do with it. But I can take that, and I know that the center was marked on here too. I'm going to mark it right there. It's a little bit stronger so you can see it. And then I will take this hoop and put it inside the garment. And this is where it gets a little scary. Everybody goes, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? How are you going to keep that from not sewing all the way through? First, what I want to do is I want to get it even. I want to find that middle center, and I've got it right in here. And what I want to do is place that, and if you look, most of your hoops will have a center marking, and this does right here. So I'm taking that chalk marking that I made on the collar, and I'm going to put that, you know what, I'm just going to pull it off here so you can see it a little bit easier. When I'm at home, it's much easier for you to see, but it's not as easy. I'm going to bring it right up to the top of the yoke, and then I'm going to bring it across. And now this is sticky, So I'm sticking this down as I do it. Now the same thing on the bottom. Now if I bring it right up to the top and I know this is the center of my hoop, right here in the center of this yoke, then I'm good to go. But if my center is right in here, which if I mark it on here, I'll do this with blue so you can see it a little bit easier. Yep. I'll make a nice big X so you can see. Now this is actually the center right here. So now I'm going to take the center of this yoke, which I've marked on, and put it right there. And then I'm going to start in the middle of it, and I'm going to go out to the side. Start right in the middle and start pressing it so it's real nice and smooth on the actual fabric. Now this one I'm not even going to have to open up. If it had a placket, I could just do this very easily because I know how big the design is. But if I didn't have the placket and it was an open shirt, let me do this where I'll open it up now and you can see what that would look like. I'll be doing a different design on here because I don't want two shirts with the same Thanksgiving on, but it'll be something fun I'll put on there. Maybe another design for fall on here. And this could even double as kind of like a cardigan, even though it's a regular shirt. And now all I'm doing is pressing across, and you want to be careful. I don't know if they can see this up close, Nick, but this seam is kind of rippling along here. It's not straight. So you want to use your hoop as a guide and get it nice and straight. And you start in the center. Always start in the center and then smooth out, smooth out, smooth out, and go to the end. And then when you have that on there, this is the key. I can't even stress this enough. I almost flipped out when I was ready to do this video. Some of you may have heard me all the way up. I thought this was my last tape, my last roll of tape. You probably all know about how hard it is to get anything today. We are in such a quandary with back orders. It's just like very, very frustrating. So I am ordering 3 and 4 of these things myself at a time, so I have them. And I do a lot of this, so I use this tape a lot because I don't want these sleeves to get caught in the machine. So I roll them up, and what I do is I tape them. And this tape, it goes on here, it'll go on here, so it doesn't get in the way of the embroidery machine. Then I do the same thing over here. I roll it up, and I take a bigger piece of tape than I've got here. But then I'll do the same thing. The front is okay because this is going to go in like this. So you want to make sure your design is sewing down. And in the top, I might want to take this tape and pull it over here and put the collar up here so it doesn't get in. And the same way on the other side so the collar doesn't get into the embroidery design. And you can just pull this right off and you reuse the tape. Now, after you start using it a while, of course, it gets to a point where you do have to do this. But then I can take, now make sure this part of the shirt is not underneath your hoop. That'll happen to you at some point, I guarantee you. And then I just put this into the machine. Now, what's the next step that I have to do? Right, water-soluble topper. This is a woven fabric. I want to use the water-soluble topper. It's not a thick, heavy design, so that's all I would need. But that will be an embroidery design that is very easy to do because I've used this tape, and I think I have, it's called, I don't know, Teresa, can you put it on there for them, whatever it's called, magic tape or whatever. It's a tape I would never be without. That's what you can call it. I have the USB stick for this Pumpkins Kissing. We have that on the website. I've got to tell you a quick little story about one of our employees, and I just think it's wonderful. Somebody came in to get this. They didn't want to buy the CD. That's all we had. So one of our staff, and they are just so wonderful, just didn't even think about it and said, oh, don't worry, I'll put it on a CD for you. I know, a USB, sorry. They took the CD and put on USB. That customer was so happy. We have got these on order. They're really hard to get, but we've ordered enough for you that you should be able to get them. Those of you that own and already get the OESD Spree Club, you won't have to order these unless you are a new member. This is actually from, I believe, 2020. So if you were a member in 2020, you have all of this. Everything that is made by OESD during the year, if you're a Spree Club member, you get free. I just think they're clubs because there's lots of other designs in here for this club month that are just really fun projects and ideas. And in this particular one, there's a whole group of fall and Thanksgiving designs, and go all the way up to Christmas. Christmas, that's happening, I guess. And you can see last week I talked about this pumpkin. I love this pillow. I think it's just great. This is actually Kona fabric, and again, this is going to be a little different on how I did this from the shirt. This is using, can you tell me what I used on this? Because it's a woven fabric. Can you see it on the back? It's fused. This is actually called Heat and Stay Fusible. So you want to fuse this onto the back of the woven fabric, and then you want to hoop it. This was actually stuck on there. This is not the fabric, because if you're doing a table runner or a quilt, it would be a wonderful fall quilt. And you're doing all these different squares. The best thing to do is to do your embroidery first. Then I can take this back into my hoop, depending on what machine I have, and I can do computerized quilting after the embroidery is already down there. And I have a picture of, Nick, you could insert it for me. It's a picture of the fabric with the batting. I use something called, I think I have a piece right down here I can show you. It's actually called the embroidery batting, and it could go on each block, and it just does a wonderful job. I will sandwich that together, and I can actually quilt the back and the front at the same time. There's numerous ways to do it, but I want to give you some ideas of how to actually do the design work and the computerized sewing. I'm not going to get into all of that, the quilting right now, but once you get that design, you've got the most unique quilt you could ever have. You'll never see one that will be similar. See what I've done on the top? You see these little 3 pink things? I'm going to tell you a little secret. I was telling somebody about it the other day. I do the lick and stick on white, but I don't do it on a colored fabric, because if you get water on a colored fabric with this glue, you might have some kind of a discoloration on your fabric. You may or may not, but I find that just a little piece of this magic tape is just so easy, and it holds the water soluble down. And then what I'm going to do with this, once I've got it on there, you know what I do, right? I'm just going to pull as much of the water soluble off as you can. And I like to do this before the design comes out of the hoop. It's much easier to get it off that way. Don't leave those little pink things on there, because they will. You actually could use those again, but there's a little, I don't think I'll put them in the garbage. But you can see this is really, there's no puckering whatsoever, and I haven't even pressed this yet. I will take this over to my Laura Star, and I will turn it over on the wrong side, and because I've got such great steam on this, it goes straight through. It doesn't distort at all, and it will, any tiny little pucker that's in here, it will take it out completely. So hope that gives you a little bit of idea. I'm actually making this pillow, which I think will be fun, but I love the design so much that I'm going to do a quilt with it too. Now, a couple quick things that I think are really fun. You can see I've actually, on this fabric, this is Kona, and it is actually this is called Chili. Kona has wonderful, wonderful colors, and you can kind of tell with the raveling and everything that I've actually put this in the washing machine and the dryer, and then I've pressed it afterwards, because if it's a pillow and I put a zipper in it and I want to take it out and wash it, I want to be able to make sure it doesn't shrink. The thing that I have a surprise for you, we only have a certain amount. We've had these on order for a long time, and they are the Kona 365 colors. We carry every single solid color that Kona makes. And inside, I think the catalog is only about $19. They're on our website, and there's just a limited amount. But look at how there's a free quilt with this, Where could you get something like this where you have all of the colors? It shows you the chili. Pimento is another color you could use for this that would be really good. But look at the free quilt pattern. There's 12 quilt free patterns in this booklet. So I encourage you highly to get on our website and get them before they're gone. They sold out immediately last year. We've had these on order for probably 6 months already. So get what you can. I think it's just wonderful. I have a couple of other little things in the stash to show you. The quilt behind me, I absolutely love. Some of you know that I was able to go to Africa before we did all of this wonderful censored no travel anywhere. And we went with dear friends of ours who actually own a business in Austin, Texas, and they're from South Africa, and they took us on the most wonderful safari we've ever been on. And behind me is just a replica of what we did. I made that. It's just really a fun one. And so we have kits that are just, this whole quilt took, I mean, you can see there's just a few strips on it. It took about 3 hours at the very most. And there is a kit, and we will put that on the website because there's not very many of these left either. You can dream about it for future safari or future trips that you might be able to take. And last but not least, I have some fall fabrics that just came in. I think they are just scrumptious. And Nick, can you get them up real close? The look at, there's even in these autumn leaves, there's some metallic in the one with the stripe, and the little pumpkins have got some metallic in it too. There's a cutest little turkey in here. Again, autumn leaves, they'd be wonderful together, but they'd be also wonderful by themselves. So hope you'll take advantage of some of those. And I think I have covered everything. It's hard to believe. I found my schedule for September 9th, 10th, and 11th. And we start at 11 in the morning, and we go till about 12:30. And then on Thursday afternoon, we go from 3 to 4:15. And then we start over again on Friday and on Saturday. And they're all different. Every single one is a different video, and I just hope you'll enjoy it. It's live, right? It's a live video that you will be able to. Will they be able to see it later, Nick, or do they just tell you they will? Great, because it'll be on our YouTube channel too, or? Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, great. Thanks so much, everyone. Can't thank you enough. I mean that. You guys are just wonderful, supporting us and getting those subscriptions up. Try and get people to subscribe. It helps us a lot by having more subscriptions in there. If you don't know how, just hit that little red button and it'll walk you through it. Have a great week, and we'll see you at the Greater Wisconsin Quilt Show next Thursday. Thanks, everyone.